He is, I believe, also previously in the Legal Affairs Department, which for us lawyers makes us very happy. And again, he's a great friend of FPRI and a great friend of Taiwan, of course, too, and an extremely able representative of the Republic of China. So without further ado, let me pass this over to Ambassador Gao.
Thank you so much, Jack, for your kind words. President Alan Luxembourg of FPRI and Professor Jean Delier and Professor Jean-Raffael Dreyer and Professor James Xiong and Professor Wojciech Wolf. And ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It is a great pleasure to have the Asia program of FPRI, the Foreign Policy Research Institute based in Philadelphia, to hold a panel discussion here in New York. Led by Professor Delier, we are here to discuss U.S.-Taiwan relations, cross-strait relations, and the implications for U.S.-China relations. These are pressing and timely issues, especially considering President Ma Ying-jeou's speech to Stanford University via video conference a couple of days ago. On behalf of TECO-NY, we welcome you all, and we are honored to host this event. I would like to take this opportunity to first congratulate Alan. Under his extraordinary leadership as president of the Institute, FPRI was recently named the nation's top think tank with the budget under $5 million and ranked the 19th in the world according to the 2012 Global Go-To Think Tank Index. I think that he deserves a round of applause. I would also like to commend Professor Delier and all the panelists for their efforts to make this conference possible. The geopolitical situation in East Asia has undergone tremendous changes over the past few years. Today, the situation on Korean Peninsula is incredibly tense. Geopolitical competition in both East Asia, East China Sea, and South China Sea is also growing more intense, even as the drive towards regional economic integration continues. In addition, three of the major players in East Asia, China, South Korea, and Japan, have changed the leadership in the past 8 months. While in Taiwan, President Ma Ying-jeou was elected to a second term of office early last year. Over the past 5 years, tensions in Taiwan Strait have been greatly reduced. Relations between Taiwan and mainland China continue to become more peaceful. Amid the uncertainty resulting from such changes in the region, Taiwan remains firmly committed to fostering peace and stability, and is a strong proponent of the liberal values cherished by democracies worldwide. It is on this backdrop that President Ma Ying-jeou took part in the video conference with Stanford University. His keynote address, titled "Steering Through a Sea of Change," focused primarily on how cross-strait rapprochement was achieved, as well as on how Taiwan is working to enhance its international participation, how to improve and upgrade its security, economic, and cultural relations with the United States, and finally, emphasizing Taiwan's ultimate value as a beacon of democracy in a rapidly changing world and Asia-Pacific region. I'm sure that tonight's discussion will further clarify the reality of the Taiwan-US-China trilateral relationship, as well as the bilateral relations between the three sides, and perhaps give us a glimpse at what the future holds. Thank you so much, and hope you have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
As Ambassador Gao noted, there was, of course, President Ma's speech a couple of days ago. We're going to show a short excerpt from that speech before turning to the panel. So without further ado, let's...
I decided to seek rapprochement with mainland China long before I took office in 2008. To ensure peace in the Taiwan Strait, after some 60 tumultuous years, my administration had to meet both the challenges of establishing mutual trust between the two sides of the Taiwan Strait and of rebuilding Taiwan's strength so that peace could be guaranteed. From the start, the 92 Consensus, 92共识, was a critical anchoring point for Taiwan and mainland China to find common ground on the otherwise intractable issue of one China. The consensus, reached between the two sides in 1992, established a common understanding of one China with respective interpretations, 一个中国各自表述. With this understanding as the foundation, my administration designed a number of modus operandi that broadly define how Taiwan would pursue peace and prosperity with mainland China. This included iteration of the three no's: no unification, no independence, and no use of force under the framework of the Republic of China Constitution. 在中华民国宪法架构下，维持不统、不独、不武的现状。This so, we then call for mutual non-recognition of sovereignty, mutual non-denial of governing authority, 主权互不承认，治权互不否认。We also spell out clearly to the other side, as well as to the Taiwan public, how we intended to proceed with the Cross-Strait dialogue. The priority of issues for the two sides to address would be pressing matters before less pressing ones, easy matters before difficult ones, and economic matters before political ones. 先急后缓，先易后难，先精后正. I firmly believe that this building blocks approach is the only way to achieve lasting peace in the Taiwan Strait. As cross-strait relations continue to develop peacefully, Taiwan is gaining an enhanced international presence. The clear parameter articulated by my administration as we began resumption of the cross-strait dialogue counter any mistaken attempt to link Taiwan's greater international participation to an agenda of two Chinas, one China, one Taiwan, or Taiwan independence. Taiwan today strives to conduct itself as a responsible stakeholder, that is, as a facilitator of peace, a provider of humanitarian aid, a promoter of cultural exchanges, a creator of new technology and business opportunity, and a stand-up bearer of Chinese culture. The international community has seen recently how Taiwan deports itself as a responsible stakeholder and facilitator of peace. Last August, my administration proposed an East China Sea peace initiative urging that negotiation take precedence or take over confrontation regarding the sovereignty dispute over the Diaoyu-Tai Islets. The following November, Taipei and Tokyo began negotiations on an East China Sea fishery agreement. 16 rounds of such talks had been held since 1996, but no agreement was ever reached. This time, both sides decided to jointly conserve and manage fishery resources in the agreement area of the East China Sea without changing their respective territorial and maritime claims regarding the Diaoyu-Tai Islets. My administration is fully aware that strength is fundamental to achieving peace. When I took office 5 years ago, my administration worked promptly to restore high-level trust between Taipei and Washington. As former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton said in 2011 in Honolulu, Hawaii, Taiwan is an important security and economic partner of the United States. We deeply appreciate the relationship we have with the United States, including U.S. arms sales to Taiwan. Only with a sufficient self-defense capability can Taiwan confidently engage in a dialogue with mainland China. The stability engendered by America's enhanced presence in the Western Pacific will certainly help. The United States is Taiwan's third largest trading partner, but remains the most important source of our technology. However large a trading partner mainland China is to Taiwan, the United States has always been an important trade and investment partner to Taiwan. The ICT, information and communication technology industries, are Taiwan's most important export sector, and they are the largest recipient of U.S. investment. We definitely want to deepen our economic ties with the United States. After successfully resolving the beef import issue last year, the Republic of China resumed trade negotiations with the U.S. under the 1994 Taiwan-U.S. Trade and Investment Framework Agreement, TIFA. Obviously, Taiwan needs to accelerate its pace of trade liberalization. For the good of its economic prosperity and national security, Taiwan cannot afford to be left out of the Trans-Pacific Partnership, TPP, and the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, RCEP. Nevertheless, Taiwan still faces many challenges with only limited resources at its disposal. In formulating Taiwan's national security strategy, my administration has steered Taiwan towards a tripartite national security framework. The first part involves the institutionalization of the rapprochement with mainland China, so that neither side would ever contemplate resorting to non-peaceful means to settle their differences. The second part involves making Taiwan a model world citizen by upholding the principles of a liberal democracy, championing free trade and providing foreign aid to the international community. The third part involves strengthening national defense capability. This national security strategy is formulated to facilitate peaceful and positive development of cross-strait ties, while remaining grounded in the pragmatic realization of the challenges we face. In other words, Taiwan and the United States share the same values and interests in preserving regional peace and stability.